All right, a very good morning to you. It's good to see you right here on Your World. I hope that your Monday has started on a rather positive note. The show is Your World, like I said. My name is Winnie Lubebe, and today's conversation is a conversation that touches on every single one of us, but with a special emphasis on a woman. And we are talking about a woman's worth. And the question that we're asking today is, what exactly defines a woman's value? And especially in this day and age, what exactly defines a woman's value in this day and age? And that is the question of the day, and we'll be sampling your feedback as we continue with the conversation. And my guests today, you will absolutely love them. But before I introduce my guests for the day, there's a statement that I read yesterday and I really, really liked it. And I figured, you know what, let's first of all try to understand what that statement says. And it says, your self-image measures your self-worth, which is the only thing that should define the rules for you. Once again, it says your self-image measures your self-worth, which is the only thing that should define the rules for you. All right, so we'll be dissecting and really getting to understand what exactly does this statement mean. So you want to stay tuned until the end of the conversation. And my guest, we have Nangami Masaka. If you are on TikTok, okay, or you are browsing somewhere in TikTok, I'm pretty sure you must have come across her videos and how she's very strong and headstrong, especially when it comes to matters women and women empowerment. And she is a self-mastery coach. She is here with us this morning. Nangami, it is so good to see you.
Always a pleasure to be here.
I want to hug you, but it's okay. Mics and all those things.
Yeah, right.
But it's so good to see you.
So good to see you too.
Are you excited about this topic? Because this is way in your alley.
I was looking forward to this. I was looking forward to this. You know, this is my forte. So
yes.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yes. And we hope to also learn so much from you because again, like I said, this is way in your early and this is what you're very, very passionate about.
Sure.
And we really can't wait to continue with the conversation. But we'll also be joined by Pastor Robert Burale, who's the founder, Naked Truth and Men of Valor Project. And he will be joining us via Zoom. We'll be connecting with him in just a moment. But Nangami, before we start the conversation, so we have this video which forms the basis of our conversation today. So take a look.
Intimidate weak men. That's known. Because if he was an alpha and he was in his masculine energy, pure masculine energy, not wounded energy, he would want a smart, hardworking woman on his side because she will inspire him, she'll guide him, she'll give him advice, she'll give him constructive criticism. She will be there, she'll be his rock. And together they can build. I don't want a man to sit down and watch me build and clap for me. No, I want a man to build with. So when a man is intimidated by a strong woman, he's weak. It's because there's nothing to be intimidated about. Men and women don't compete with each other. They complete each other. So I do need a man that is in his alpha and masculine, because if he's not, then I will tap into my masculine energy to basically bring that masculine energy into the relationship because he doesn't have it. So it's so important for a man to be healed in his alpha energy, in his healed energy, for him to be able to allow the woman safely to drop into her feminine and for her to be a little girl. And it's very important because a lot of men complain, oh, females are very masculine nowadays. Men made us become like that. Life made us become like that. But if I am with a healthy man, I'd be a baby. I'd be a girl. I don't want to be the boss lady at home. I don't want that. I want to be a girl. I want to be taken care of.
All right, and masculine energy versus feminine energy and all those things. That is what we'll be discussing today, just really getting to understand how they sort of influence, you know, our worth as women. So Nangami, just want to hear what you have to say based on that video. And also the statement that I read, which says your self-image measures your self-worth, which is the only thing that should define the rules for you. All right, and then we'll come back and really get to understand what is it that we mean when we say a woman's value.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, in fact, I'm totally in agreement with that statement that you're worth, because you need to have an inherent worth as a woman, and then that should be the basis then for you to move from there moving forward, because now it will detect how everyone else is going to interact with you.
Okay. Yes. All right. So a woman's worth or a woman's value in this day and age, in this 21st century. We're in 21st, right? Century. What exactly does that mean? What is it that we're talking about when we say a woman's worth, or just a woman's value, or just value in general? What are some of these components that make up for that?
In fact, that's a really good question, because, you know, most of the time women talk about the fact that, you know, my value, I know my value, I'm a high value woman. And then when you go deep and ask the question, the fundamental question, what is your value? Usually people hang up and they're stuck on traditional gender roles, they're stuck on the physical appearances. But usually your value is measured on several things. Things such as your individuality, your ability to make choices, your achievements, and obviously now your inherent worth, what you determine for yourself. So as a woman, the values are like, what are your contributions to society, your contributions towards your career, your family, your community. And then it has to be like your autonomy. So what are you about? Your identity. Most people don't even have an identity. What do you rate for yourself? Have you charted a path for yourself? So 2 is identity. 3 is your relationships. And I think for women, most of the time, the value is just restricted to the relationships that they have, romantic relationships. But you're talking about relationships as a whole, because women can be very performative, especially when it comes to relationships. And then they're very, you know, nice and warm and cuddly with their partners, but really brutal with others, and especially with their female friends. So it has to be holistic. Your relationships, strength and resilience is something else. But then again, strength and resilience for women is usually restricted to your ability to endure, you know, frustrations and building people up. But strength and resilience is just your ability to face adversity and grow from your challenges. Challenges across life. So when you look at this, it's very holistic. And then finally, this is my personal favorite, your personal achievements. Because women don't come from a place of, you see the way Elon Musk is very categorical about, I want to do this for humanity and I want to take society forward.
He is not scared.
Yes, and very few women do you see take up center stage in terms of having, like, I want to take over territories, I want to take over nations. Women usually are just restricted to, I want to do my small little job, get my little pay, and then go home.
But is it because, again, we are in a patriarchal society, where, because my next question was going to be, so based on everything that you have said, does that woman exist? And the reason why I'm going to ask that is because now what we know as a woman of value and what the society expects that woman to be is very timid, very submissive, which that term, first of all, submissive, is very misconstrued most of the time. So there's this expectation that the society needs to see from a woman. But there's also the reality on the ground that is, you know, based on everything else that you have talked about, that is very holistic and makes one's value and one's self-worth. So does that woman really exist? Considering all those factors.
Yes, she does exist. But then again, the term would be she's masculine. That's why we, you know, really, because they're there, the women who have, like, they move with some sort of power. And usually we know when you move with power, power is very masculine. So a woman who moves into powerful spaces is obviously going to be construed to be masculine because she's not agreeable. She embodies traits. You know, for you to function in society, and especially at higher echelons, you need to embody things such as respect. You need to have things such as discipline, structure, order, and all of these things, commitment, discipline. And so all of these things are like male kind of affiliated. The masculine energy is affiliated with strength and whatnot. So she's there. But so the feminine is the one who's very agreeable, she's timid, she's all about the physical appearance, that she look nice, which is very important, by the way, I think, for women to look really nice. But then again, like I mentioned in the beginning, women are not really conditioned for power. It's usually just get the small stuff. You know, all of us have gone to school, women have gone to school, we have the education, we have the papers, but we don't see ourselves pushing through in terms of just society and having power and having impact and influence. I was saying this even when, if Pastor was here, Burale was saying that when you look at the space, because he's in the space where I am, which is speaking, motivational speakers and whatnot, I would sit here and I'd mention for you the motivational speakers that I know, like Eric Thomas, obviously Burale, Vusi Tempekwayo, Tony Robbins, Miles Monroe, Les Brown. By the time I begin to mention women, I'd be like Lisa Nichols, Mel Robbins,
then you have to think,
and then I have to think who else is in the, and it's not like women are incapable of doing that. It's only that we are not really conditioned to take over society and push over territories. And I think so that's what brings now the conversation around value. So even when you listen to women have discussions around value, they throw a word around the word value. I'm a high value woman. What does that mean?
And now there's actually a lot of conversation surrounding the same high value woman, high value woman. I'm a high value woman because, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I was also listening to some other videos. I think maybe we might play it during the show. And she was talking about how, so be independent, but then don't be too independent, because then again you end up intimidating, you know, the people around you. So she's like, okay, what exactly am I supposed to do?
Right. And I'm
because it's like there's so many conditions, you know, that a woman has to meet for her to be quote unquote high value woman. But at the same time, that is still a problem in the society.
Yes.
So most women are like, okay, what exactly do you want me to do? You know, where do I fit? Where do I stand? So do I sort of like lessen myself to fit into the society?
Yes.
How do I navigate this patriarchal society but still come out on top as a woman of value?
One thing I'd like to say, because usually, obviously, you know that I'm a huge proponent of self-mastery.
Yes.
And mastering yourself is part of mastering yourself is not wanting to fit in, because you don't want to be boxed, you don't want to be put in a you know, identity sort of that has been created by society. And even when you look at our counterparts, the men who move with power and influence are very few, by the way. It's not like it's all of them. It's not all men have power and all men have value. So the men who pursue power and purpose and this sort of influence are very few in society, and they're the ones who go against the grain. So the idea of you having power and having value means that you have to go against the grain. When you look at the powerful men in the world, very few powerful men. It's not like all of them are really powerful, and the ones who are powerful obviously are always rubbing off. There's always friction with society. So even when it comes to women, that is part of the gig. It comes with the territory. You always have to make sure that you go against the grain. Even for me, when you look at the stuff that I create on TikTok, it's not something that is really palatable. But it's also about usually holding people to account, and it's not really nice when you're held to account, because things are going to be exposed. And
actually, I wanted to ask the personal question in terms of then how are people, because look at you, you're a very powerful woman who is not afraid to say what she thinks, who is not afraid. You're very assertive. You know what exactly you want, and you're not afraid.
Yes.
Okay. So how are people responding to you? That way, because for most people they'll be like, uyo, hey. Or a powerful woman who's say like a CEO somewhere, or running her successful business, or running an empire, will be like, that one, you know, they can be intimidating. So how are people responding, first of all, to you as Nangami?
First of all, in fact, I'm not liked by most people, which is a good thing. I'd far rather be respected than liked. And you think most women
respected rather than
liked. I'd far rather be respected. And you know the good thing about people respecting you is that they'll never say certain stuff in front of you. They'll always put it behind you, because they know till here no further. I've already put boundaries. There's structures. When you approach me, you have to address me a particular way. I'm not in anybody's business. I don't come for anyone. Don't come for me, because I'm going to put you in your place, right? And it's all about coming from the place of I'm all about. And you know this is a problem with women, because women want to be liked. Oh, Winnie's so nice. Hi, babe. Hi, dear. Hi. No. And you know that usually is an invitation also for manipulation. People take advantage, and also boundaries now becoming really porous. So when you come from a place of I want to be respected and not liked, then you just get into the understanding that I stand for certain things, and I'm unapologetic about these things, and I'm really bold, because at the end of the day, you know, the most people can do is talk.
True.
And
I mean, they can't be like, when Nangami,
they can't do anything. And then once you understand psychology, you realize that most people are cowards, by the way. Most people are cowards. The most they can do is to type stuff. But most of the time, in real life, people, I'm so sure even for you, people will rarely approach you.
100%,
yes. Which is a good thing.
And that is one of the things that we'll also talk about, because I've seen a lot of women say, I am not approached by people, and then there's this other woman who's approached by everyone. So she's like, so is it like I'm an attractive? Is it, what is it about me that tends to push people away? But there's this other woman who's like almost everybody tends to navigate towards. In
fact, for me, I would appreciate and I'd advise most women to be in the former, which is you know, the person who is not. People are not comfortable around. You don't want people to be too comfortable around you. And not everyone can have access to you. Because it protects you from so many things. I was saying this to a meeting on Saturday, and I said that, you know, I have a resting bee face. So when I'm just, someone will be like, oh, Nangami, you look pissed. What's up? You look stressed. I'm like, what?
I'm okay.
I'm okay. I'm just okay. But my resting face is It's a B face, which is a good thing. So it makes me really unapproachable. But the upside of it is that the people who then dare approach me are the ones who feel like, I really need to get to know this person. I want to have a conversation with them. And I have no qualms, you know, talking to them and speaking to them, because even if they have boundaries, I can match that energy, I can meet them. But if you're easily approachable and easily accessible, that's a problem.
But you see, the problem is, okay, don't want to say the problem, but now that you've said that's a problem, is we want that. We want to be approached. We want to be liked. And now, in this day and age, on social media, the likes, okay, the comments, we want that. We want people, whatever it is that we put out there, for people to respond and respond positively towards. And one of the things is like. So if I get less likes, so will be like, nah, maybe people don't like me, you know? And then you end up maybe trying to post more just to get that validation, which again, we'll talk about validation as we continue with the conversation. But social media, how would you say that has sort of like influenced today's woman in terms of the ones especially understanding their worth and their value and validation, you know, at the same time?
In fact, from a public, I'll answer that question from a public speaking perspective. The most important thing that you want to have is social skills. Because you know, most people don't have social skills. So you expect that it's your face that is going to speak for you. No, you have to be really, you know, you have to be malleable like water. You know, you have to morph and move with crowds and audiences. So there are certain spaces where you go, and really, because when you look around you, you stand to gain nothing. So you just, you far rather be in your corner doing your thing. But then there are other spaces where you go to and you want people to interact with you warmly. So this is what brings the social media spaces. Social media spaces are exactly that. They're supposed to be social. So be social, socialize. So even for me, there are times when I'm really cut and dry in my content, but every once in a while you'll see me dance, you'll see me doing like social stuff, dressing up, being a girl, and then there are also times when I'm really tough. So it makes me human, and that is what most people lack, which is balance. And another problem that women have is that women usually are on extreme ends. So it's either they're really tough. So if they've been heartbroken or stuff hasn't happened, they've been taken advantage of, so they take the high road, which is just, I'm going to be really serious and tough, I don't laugh, I don't joke with anyone, because I don't want anyone to, you know, come into my space and take advantage. And then there are those who have because of that lack of attention, so they go on to, you know, now forming a personality that is like too likable, and you're too approachable, and you know, you're too nice.
People pleasing.
Yes, people pleasing, because you want to be.
You want to be liked.
You want to be liked. So you happen to be on extreme ends, which is just finding a blend. You have to find a blend in terms of who you are, and it's understanding the psychology of people. And what people want. I can easily have like really serious conversations. Put me in front of like some military guys, the president. I'm gonna handle my own. And then put me like in a group of comedians and whatnot. I'm still going to have a good time and enjoy myself, because it's all about strike a balance when it comes to social skills, which is a problem, by the way. And I'm looking at it right now in corporate spaces, personal spaces, people are embodying social skills.
Which is actually a key skill now. And again, talking about emotional intelligence as well, which again we'll continue to talk about, because we all know what women have been called, angry. And all those things. And bitter. Anyway, so we have Pastor Robert Burale now joining us via Zoom. Robert, it's so good to see you this morning. Unfortunately, you could not be here with us physically, but we really, 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 really appreciate the fact that you really tried to join into the conversation and not miss out on anything. Good morning. How are you? How are you feeling today?
Good morning, Winika. Please confirm you can hear me well.
Robert, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I would have loved to be there physically, but due to some unavoidable circumstances, I could not be there. But I'm happy to be here.
Nangami, so there's something that you talked about earlier on. All right, Robert?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So just please stay on the line, because I can't hear you, and we need to get that sorted, because I really want to hear your input in today's conversation. So just allow us to sort that out, and then so that we can both of us, this Nangami and I, to hear you. But Nangami, so you talked about identity. And I know this is something that a lot of women struggle with. But my biggest question is, what exactly about identity is it that women struggle the most? Because I know there's a time in my life where I really struggled with self-identity. So you talked about people pleasing. Ooh la la! I was like the biggest people pleaser in the entire universe.
Yes.
Okay, because I wanted to be liked. I do not want to have any qualms with anyone. I do not want to have any conflicts. I don't care. I'll just assume nothing has happened because I don't want any rift, with anyone. And that I would say for a fact affected me most. I do not want to say which period, but a bigger chunk of my life, because then I didn't know who I was, because I was trying to please other people and just be liked and just be that quiet girl who does not want any quarrels and qualms with people. So I know how that can affect a person. But when we talk about self-identity, what is it that you feel women struggle with the most as far as self-identity?
Obviously, identity has always been who am I? What sort of person am I? And people pleasing, I think it's a problem that even most women have.
Yes.
Myself also had that.
Really?
Yeah.
You?
I have.
No.
And I think I still have traces of it.
Yeah.
That I'm still trying to work around that, because the grooming, obviously, from coming up when you're a girl, it's always don't ruffle feathers, don't try to walk outside the confines of society that you have been put, and just toe the line, say yes, say thank you, say please, excuse me, which is like really polite kind of stuff. But because you also don't want to be disliked, we know what happens to people who are disliked, and most of the time we don't want to be that.
We do not want that.
Yeah, we don't want that. We see what happens to people on social media. We see what happens to people in real life, those who try to go outside the guardrails of society. So usually we want to be, you just want to toe the line so that you're not offending anyone. But then again, if you want to do anything great, and if you want to live your truth, if you want to live in your own essence and in your own authenticity, you have to find an identity for yourself. So who are you? Who are you really? Okay. So even for me, this is what I'd like to say. Something as simple as how I show up to the world. So you can see a camo on, in a turban and whatnot.
I really like that look. I really wish I could pull it. Maybe one day I'll try, but I don't know.
You could try. And this is me. This is how I like to show up to the world. So even for the public speakers, like, this is not like you put together kind of look that you show up as going to, public speakers is supposed to be, you look a certain way. But then this is who I am with my piercings and how I like to, adorn myself. So something as simple as how I show up to the world in terms of how I dress, I'm not put in a box. And one thing I've come to realize is that in the beginning, it's not going to rub some people, the right way. Yeah, people are going to be like, that's not how you're supposed to show up. But then again, I realized, because this is something that I've done, this is, tried and true for me, is at the end of the day, your tribe finds you. The people who resonate with you find you. The people who want to work with you eventually will want to work with you. And like I like to say, eventually the trash takes itself out, because now you're left with the people who are for you. And it's very important now for women to seek an identity, because if you don't, then women end up just becoming performative. So anytime you're around people, you act nice, you act like you like them, like you like the conversation, you're enjoying it, and you're not. Which also, when it comes to relationships then, it makes women stay in situations that they're not supposed to be in because of that lack of identity.
I like that. And I like the fact that you're saying performative, which I think, honestly, if you look around, so many people are in that state. And we really need to get out of that state. And really focus on who are we? Who am I as an individual? I'm pretty sure there's this term that we have heard over and over again, that when you go back home, when you close that door and you are alone in the house, who exactly are you? Okay, so we'll come back and answer more questions in terms of then, how do we get there in terms of self-mastery, self-identity, be that woman who shows up and shows out, all right? So how do we get there? And this is a question that so many women are asking, and also the question that we're asking you today, and that is, what exactly defines a woman's worth in this day and age, in today's society? We'll also be looking at your feedback, so keep sending them on our Facebook and X page, and that is at NTV Kenya. But if you want to call in, I mean, by all means, feel free to do so, because we also need to hear your view, and we also need to hear more from Burale's perspective. But all that is coming up after the break. Stay with us. The show is Your World. All right, welcome back. The show is Your World. And just in case you're tuning in right now, today our focus of conversation is a woman's worth. And we're asking, what exactly defines a woman's worth or a woman's value in today's society? That is the question that we're asking you. We have a WhatsApp number that is 01 500 400. Once again, 500 400 is our WhatsApp number. Please share your feedback with us on the question that we're asking you today. In your opinion, what exactly defines a woman's worth in today's society? But on Facebook and on X, I can see a number of you have some things to say. Okay, so let me just go through them very quickly. This is Nash Peters. Betty says the kind of kids she has brought up, and I'm looking at Nangami on my periphery just to hear what she has to say on that. The kind of kids that she has brought up, all right? And then JJ says character is what defines a person, all right? And then someone else says character, okay? And this is Marielle Meyer, who says character in itself. But again, keep sending your feedback on our WhatsApp number. That is 500 400. That is our WhatsApp number, and we'll look into them as we continue with the conversation. But right about now, Nangami, before you respond to that, let's speak to Burale, who is joining us virtually, just to hear what his views are as far as a woman's worth and what exactly that defines a woman's worth. First of all, Burale, according to you, okay, in today's society, what would you say defines a woman's worth? And this is from a man's perspective. And I'll tell you why I'm asking you that.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me now very well. Thank you very, very much for this opportunity. First, allow me to apologize for not being there physically. It was due to unavoidable circumstances. Now, a woman's worth has been warped in this day and age. Many people think a woman's worth is based on her hips, lips, and fingertips, how beautiful, how sexy. I'm sorry, I know this is too early to say such words, but a woman's worth is, for me, it's a personal opinion, and I don't think I'm far from the truth. A woman's worth is hidden in her identity, understanding who she is, what value she brings on the table. Not what she is on the table, but what value she brings on the table. What is her identity, her level of self-worth, in as far as, you know what, I don't need external factors to make me feel good about myself, because identity is an inside job. But now we have reduced, sadly, because of social media and people's ideologies, we have reduced women to objects. And that's one thing that the world must start running away from. I want you to do a study. When a woman comes in, it doesn't matter, in most cases, very brainy, very intelligent, but most people will go straight to her hips or her body structure. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with admiring somebody's beauty. But if we think that is what a woman brings to the table entirely, then we are objectifying women. But sadly, Winnie, allow me to say some women have also reduced themselves to that. They carry a lot up here, but they want to amplify their physical attributes over and above their intelligence, their grace, their value system. So we need to recalibrate people and say, you know what, this is Winnie. She's extremely attractive, but by the way, she's very brainy. So let's listen to what she has to say before we start looking at what she's carrying.
I mean, but the thing is, the first time you encounter someone, you will see them physically without even them speaking. You will see all those things. Because I was about to ask you, but is it wrong to, you know, the hips? He says the hips, the lips, and something else. Is it wrong? But again, like you said, it's nothing wrong. But then again, that should not be the only thing that defines you as a woman. So now you said something. You said, unfortunately, we have conditioned a woman to sort of like think that way. So my question is, who's we in this case?
Society, including, Winnie, the women themselves.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? The women have also reduced some, not all. I have to be very careful about my wording. Even if when you go on social media, it's about being half naked. It's about showing your hips. It's about showing your front and making sure people see a lot, so that when we go on social media, that's the first thing we're seeing. And I'm sorry, I'm going to ruffle the nest here. Look at the two of you. Let me use you as an example. Very well dressed, speaking very well. But the truth of the matter, most people, okay, some people on social media, they want to show, you know, look at my breasts first, look at how sexy I look before you know what I carry. So yes, there's nothing wrong in admiring, but if you overdo it, like us preachers, we are taught, never let your dressing compete with your sermon. So I'll say this to the women, don't let your sexuality, and I mean that in a very carnal way, overshadow what you carry. You see our guest here speaking with a lot of wisdom. Many people would just want to see, oh, she's beautiful, and miss out on the wisdom that this lady is giving us on air. So society and women, some women have not done any favors for themselves by also over sexualizing themselves.
Okay, so based on your definition of a woman of value, because there's a huge buzz around it on social media, I'm a woman of value, a high-value woman, high-value man. Does that woman exist in today's world? Because I asked the same question to Nangami earlier on, but I also want to hear your views. Does that woman exist in today's world? And where is her place in the society? Because there's a lot of negative responses towards this ideal woman of value. So where is her place in this society, and does she first of all exist?
A value woman absolutely exists, and she said she doesn't have to be loved by everybody. When you want to position yourself to be loved by everybody, you will want to become to them what they expect of you. You enter in some spaces, they want you to show you how sexy you are, and then you lose your own identity to please other people. It doesn't matter. Be yourself, whether they troll you or not, understanding who you are. But also some people have mistaken what the meaning of high-value woman means. High-value woman does not mean that you earn $1 million shillings a month. No, high-value woman is not based on your financial elasticity that helps you to be comfortable, but a high-value woman is on the foundation of value. It's an inside job. Do you know there could be a woman earning 5 million a month and she has no values? There could be a woman earning 5,000 shillings a month but is of very high value because it's on character. Social media and the expectations of men and women has reduced the meaning of high value to mean other things. And by the way, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, and again, I'm not here to win any awards or play any PR. Some people who shout how high value they are don't really have any value. A high value woman may say it once, but the value speaks louder. But if you have to repeat every day, morning time, mid time, noon time, afternoon and evening time, that you're of high value, it tells me you're very, very far away from high value. But when you walk into a place, when you open your mouth, when you carry yourself, value speaks. But for you to say it, it's like a leader. If you have to remind us that you're a leader, it means that you do not have the grace of leadership.
Wow. Hey, okay. So Nangami, let me come back to you. And based on what Burale, has also talked about.
Yes.
So would you say then the definition of a woman of value or a woman's worth has evolved over time? Because I'm trying to think back then versus now, and all the complexities that are there, social media included.
Yes.
So has it sort of like evolved over time? Because it's like the definition sort of like needs to remain the same, but has also changed in one or the other, depending on someone's perception of a woman of value. Yeah.
Yes, obviously it has changed because, back in the day, a woman's value was based on perhaps two things. Your physical appearance, or the younger and the more fertile you looked, you're more valuable because you had the tendencies to, the youthfulness, give birth to kids, you could be a trophy wife and that sort of thing. And then the traditional gender roles that people have to play. So back in the day, you were valuable if you could carry firewood on your head and go to the river and fetch
water. And
a
child on your back.
And a child on your back. And so that was considered you to be high, like everyone was looking up to, and you can kneel, while serving. So that was considered to be like really high, like that's the kind of woman, she's really down to earth and grounded and whatnot. Yeah. But it has changed, it has morphed over time, especially as society has come to see men and women like on the equal spectrum. Not that they are the same, but they're just human beings, and they morph, they change, they've got aspirations, they've got purpose, stuff. Yeah. And I totally agree with Pastor Burale with what he's saying in terms of it has to go beyond your physical appearance. Because, you know, back in the day, beauty was supposed to be the thing that ushered you into certain spaces, which is very true. We still live in a society.
It still works, yes. Let's call the pretty girl.
Pretty privilege.
Yes.
So pretty privilege still pretty much works. And this is something that I also totally know, I understand. There's certain spaces where I have to go and have to look the part. I have to look amazing, I have to look presentable and whatnot. But then again, the thing that keeps me in those rooms and the things that maintains me in those spaces has to go beyond how I look. So you have to bring something more, your contribution, your ability to hold intellectual conversations, your character. So there's a myriad of things that now tell you who a high-value woman is. So it goes on to change, and I think you're almost being put at the same level, perhaps with men, and that is why what is expected of you at work is not different from what is expected from your counterparts.
100%.
Yes, and I think that's also uncomfortable now for even women. They're like, why are you holding me to such a high standard? I'm just a woman.
I'm a girl, baby girl.
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to respond to that comment where someone said the question that we asked, and that is what defines a woman's value in today's society.
Right.
And the person, I think, said the kind of kids she brings up, the kind of kids she has brought up.
Wow.
What do you make of that?
I think that is very, I don't know, not to, you know, seem like I'm talking down to the person, but that is also very disadvantageous. It is such a sad thing to say, because not every woman has been equipped to the ability to have kids. Not every woman will have children, and it's not because they don't want, it's because they can't. That's the hand they've been dealt with by life. So how do you sentence that woman and say that, so do they have no value anymore?
Or if your kids are wayward, then it means you're not.
You didn't do your part. Because most of us are grown. There are certain things that I do that if my parents would hear about this, they'd be like, that's not how we raised you, and it has nothing to do with that.
I am very nosy. I'm just going to ask, we're not going to go there, but yes.
You know, the skeletons in my closet, that certain things that I'm going to go with to my grave with, you know. And my parents had no hand in it. These are just some of the things that I either learned towards my late teenage years and whatnot. So when it comes to how you raised your kids,
it really has nothing to do with
no, because there are certain people who have not been gifted with the opportunity to have kids, but they still contribute immensely to society.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I think
doesn't make them less.
We also come from a part of society where we have a like savior mentality and savior syndrome, where we think that our greatest potential is shown in how we raise people. And I think that is an attribute that you can only give like to the Most High and to God. You cannot control anybody else outside of you.
There's only so much that you can do as a parent, and then the rest.
Anybody outside of you is it's grace that will allow you to bring out.
Okay, so our time. But the question that I have then for both you and Pastor Burale is, so understanding then what defines a woman's worth and a woman's value in today's society. So then how do we get there? And I'm just going to throw it to you, Robert, first. So how do we then change that? Because like you said, as a woman, your worth is not defined by only your hips and your lips and your all those things, and you know, showing up as, look at, oh, I have this part of my body or this part of my body. So then how do we change that? How do we change, first of all, that mentality that women have been forced to think, that some women, like you said, how do we change that to get to that level where we can say, truly, this is a woman of value?
I think, thank you very much, Winnie. I think what we need to do is start the messaging. People of influence, even for you people in media, for example, you also now need to start inviting, like your guest today. The problem is I have seen, and I'm sorry I'm going to say this, I have seen some people invited, and when you listen to them, when we look at them, they come first half naked. And when media is a very powerful tool, we are almost amplifying that this is how a woman should look. I'll tell you something. I've had the privilege of speaking to very many young people. And there's a time I asked a question. I gave two names, one socialite and one decent media personality. And I asked the young girls, who would you like to be when you grow up, like between the two of these? And I'm telling you, 98%, if not 100, picked the socialite. And I asked why. Says, but you see how she is on social media. She's living a very flamboyant lifestyle. So the messaging must change, because you people in media also have a major place to play, because media also informs public perception. For us who are mentors, we need to start talking to the young boys when we speak to them that, listen, do not objectify a woman. And one time, young boys were telling me in a retreat we had gone, oh no, you know, a woman must look good. I want her to have hips and wear tight clothing. And they said, you know, that's why we whistle when they pass, or we make these funny sounds. And I said, if your mother was passing there in your presence and many other men do the same, what would you feel? And they said, oh my goodness, then that's wrong. So we need, it's a 3 or 4 pronged attack for mentors to speak, for schools to speak, universities to speak, media to also play a major role. And again, since you're my friend, I will use you as an example. Look at how you're dressed, smart and decent. But we thought at some point media was positioning women to dress too sexy so that you get people to watch. Sexy does not mean showing your skin. Sexy and decent can be, you can dress smart, decently, and look absolutely fantastic. So when the young girls look, they say, look at those 2 ladies on air. Highly intelligent, looking good, without necessarily showing flesh. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for me, when I speak to young boys, we remove the mindset of objectifying women, but also women must stop objectifying themselves. You should stop saying, you know, if I show this, I will look good. If I show this, I will have more likes and more followership on social media. Now, I'm not saying now you go out there dressing like a nun, but I'm saying, listen, dress smart, dress decent, and show us much more than your skin.
All right. I still have a follow-up question on the same. I mean, based on what these young girls, first of all, said, that they would rather be this as compared to someone who appears, quote-unquote, decent, doesn't that then tell there is a specific need? And we'll take this example. You post a picture where you're decent in all aspects, based on what you're saying, on how you're dressed and all those things, and you get like 5 likes. And then you post this other one there, where you were in a swimming pool and dressed accordingly, okay? You get 1,000 likes. So most of these girls would rather do that as compared to being decent, and being decent in terms of what you're saying, how you're addressing people, how you dress, how you basically show up according to what Nangami says. So doesn't it then unfold like a deeper, you know, conversation in terms of why are they moving or morphing towards that? It's because there's that need that sort of like needs to be filled.
Absolutely. And that tells you then that person is looking for affirmation and identity based on what other people say. I said a few minutes ago, identity is an inside job. You may have 5 likes, but still comfortable in your skin. Just the way Nangami said, you may be insulted by trolls on social media, but it does not inform you who you are. But if you give people the power to define who you are based on their comments, likes, and shares, you have now given them the power to bring you down when they start ostracizing you. There's a statement that we've commonly had, I am comfortable in my own skin, that you may not like me, you may say only 1 comment and 1 like, but it doesn't diminish what I feel about myself. But when you have too many comments, let me tell you something, they don't comment about your value. They are commenting based on their lustful thoughts towards you. So it's not about you per se that, oh, you look good and you're like, oh, thank you very much. It's the doing of the Lord. No, that's the doing of your own insecurity. But they don't want your mind, they want your skin. Yeah. When you show people, sorry to say this, your breasts, your hips, it means it's you in you are dealing with the appetite of their lustful thoughts. But when you have 5 likes, sometimes that is an indicator or a backhanded compliment that you're not giving people what they want, which is largely lust. And the few people who are commenting understand what the value is of a woman.
Hey, Nangami, so then how do you get there?
First of all, it's always a pleasure listening to, you know, Robert Burale speak, because I think he should be part timing for comedy.
Right.
doing of the Lord bit. And also, I can tell now why he runs, the Naked Truth kind of program that he has, because that's just naked truth.
Literally, yes.
And bars after bars after bars.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the value when it comes even to society, it's all about what you put out there. And I like what he has said, when you just affirm yourself.
Yeah.
That's the really most important thing, which is something that I said, you far rather be respected and not liked. So I think it has to come from within. Once people surpass and go beyond seeking validation and the approval of others, then you get now to your truth and to your authentic self and to the person that who you are. Because I think, obviously, women have been objectified a lot, and they continue to objectify themselves. So it becomes very difficult then for people to see beyond what you present physically, when most women are like, I want you to appreciate me, to treat me best on merit. But then again, how can people go to your merit when you've only given them this shell that they can only get to see? And this is something that also now, eventually, when you look at the long-term things, it's still something that happens even to women. Women have been given opportunities by people or by men that they are not capable for. Like, you can imagine a woman, simply because she was beautiful and the man liked her, and now he's opening a boutique for her, opening businesses for her, elevating her status, and she still can't get to that level because she has not merited, she lacks the character, social skills, ability to stay in those places. Because one thing I can tell you, not every woman is capable. So many women have been put in spaces where they're incapable and they don't merit to be there. And so they go in, and we've seen so many women who've gotten into spaces and then they were thrown out because you're beautiful. And this is something that we understand, that society will always be easy to a woman who looks good.
Easy on the eyes.
You're easy on the eyes. And then you get into spaces, you're given opportunities, then you're spit out because you could not sustain, you did not have the staying power. And I think most women need to work on that. You need to have staying power in staying in certain situations.
I absolutely hear you. Absolutely. Now my mind is like on overdrive. So then, Robert, because we need to like literally go before I read more of the comments. So because then we can't just talk about a woman's value or a woman's worth without necessarily talking about the man, because the big question is, so is today's man then able to handle this today's woman who is a woman of high value? And if not, then how do we get there? How do we get this man so that they're not intimidated by, let's say, a woman's success, or a woman who's assertive, a woman who's not afraid to go after what she wants, a woman who literally shows up?
Right. Thank you very much. We do have men who can handle a high-value woman in the real sense of what a high-value woman is concerned. A high-value woman is not a woman who will not listen to the husband, who will not tell the husband, I earn more money than you. A high-value woman actually understands her power, yet embracing her submissive nature. But high-value woman now is, I earn more money, I drive a bigger car, I can do better by myself, I think there's a song by this group called Destiny's Child, Beyonce, that I can't remember what it's called. We rule the world or something. They say some crazy stuff. A high-value woman is one who understands her power, yet can control her power in her submissive nature. You understand what I'm saying? A high-value woman is not a woman who wants to compete with the man or want to make the man look bad. Now, men run away from women who want to belittle them. Men love women who understand their power, yet they still understand their place as the neck that will make where the head will turn. So we have the Men of Valor project, where we have meetings, we talk to men, yet also mentor young men, is for them to never put down a woman, because some men who can't handle high-value women are the ones who go into domestic violence, because you can't handle a woman up here, then you want to show your power with your physical attributes. Yes, there are some men who cannot handle high-powered women or high-valued women, but there are also a great number of men who can handle women of value. And we need to have a point of convergence where to tell men, by the way, a woman may earn more than you, but a woman will follow a man who may earn 10 times less than her, but a man who has a vision. And that's why we tell young men, a woman, high value, will follow a man with a vision and not a television. You understand what I'm saying? So men have a vision, and a woman can push you into having a vision. That's why even God in his own wisdom may has something called seed, as small as it may be, that borrows a woman's womb to give the woman seed, and 9 months later, a woman gives a human being. If a man has a vision, combines with a high-value woman, a woman has the grace to pick that seed that is a vision and multiply it and give it back to the man and nurture that vision for the man to flourish out there. That's why in Proverbs 31, the Bible talks about a woman with noble character who can find that you may be a woman that can make your man be respected in the city gates.
I see that. Way. Okay. Unfortunately, due to the interest of time, Nangami, 10 seconds literally to just cut this up for that woman who maybe has joined us right now, a woman of value. What do we say?
I just wrap it up, which is, I think, to top up with what Robert has said. It's all about your identity, your character, knowing your place, and the things that we've talked about. For me, personal achievement is one of them. Your contributions to society, your individuality, your choices, and charting a path for yourself. That is what will make you high value. Then once you're high, people are supposed to benefit from the value that you already have and you're enjoying. You don't do it for others. You do it for yourself, then people just benefit from it.
I see that. And don't just go around shouting, I'm a woman of value, yet there's literally nothing that someone can see. All right, and just one comment from X, and this is from Michael Wafula, who says, character does, and then that's it. All right, so thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have to end the conversation here. But again, it doesn't mean that the conversation stops here. Keep them ongoing on our socials, and that is at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X, and tag me as well at Lubembe_. We need tomorrow. We'll be talking about, another conversation that I'll be looking forward to, and that is single at over 40. Okay, does it mean that there's something wrong with you? All right, so what are the green flags? What are the red flags? Because someone said someone who's single at over 30, that is a green flag, and another one said that is a big red flag. Okay, so we'll be diverting or divulging more into that conversation tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Your World. But for now, allow us to say goodbye. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Stay safe, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Goodbye.